Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Celestial Journey. So we're actually picking back up shortly after the last episode finished out, because I'm ready to get started on the next part of this so I can start kind of building out this room proper, and then we can get flux fields plugged up and have power. I know it's been a long wait, guys. I know it has been. It's been painful. It's been very, very painful. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to start getting into extra utilities to start with. And we are going to actually start off by getting 2 resonators. And the reason being is because one of these is going to be plugged up for automation. One of them is going to be like one that we can actually use, right? So, and I pretty much just dumped all my junk into this chest to free up my inventory after last episode. So we've got that. Now the next thing I want to get is a manual meal. You could also go with solars for this, but I'm going to be going with a manual meal because I can. And because truth be told, it's cheaper. When you're starting out, it's cheaper than going with like solars or lunars, and you know, I don't have to make 2 sets of them to be able to run it 24/7. Even though it is manual, I'm only going to use it for a split second, and then we're going to change over to water mills, and all it's going to be right with the world. So there's really, unless you plan on using solars, I live in a cave. I don't know why I'm standing here waiting for this. I've got polished bricks. I live in a cave, so solars don't really do me a ton of good, truth be told. We're not going to be using really anything that's solar based in this series, I don't believe. So, yeah. Just a heads up. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a few redstone torches. And let's get that. I have wood right here. I didn't even notice it. That's fine. Let's go ahead and get that. Let's go ahead and get that. And then what we need to do is we need to make stone burnt. So manual meal right there, and just hit right click one time. It's going to start running. Now this is going to be a very slow process, but I only need 6 stone burnt to start with. So it's going to take me a second to get this crafted up, but it's not too bad. You can see we've already made 1 piece of stone burnt. It only needs like 8 points of grid power to make 1. So, okay, so that should be done. There we go. And we are done with the manual meal. That's a block that we never, ever need again. So that's why we're not even bothering with the solars. You only need them for a few seconds, really. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a few copper coils. And then I'm going to need a bucket of water. So water I'm going to need to pop right down here. That's why I've got that. That way we have access to water without needing an ugly 2x2 of water. Even though I do actually have one now that I think about it in the Britannia area. But that's okay. Or in the little temporary little Britannia area that we've got set up. Okay, so there is our water meal. Our very first water meal. And I want to try something. I've never tried this before, but I'm kind of curious if this will work. And if it does, I will be quite happy. Okay, so what we're going to try is if I pull this up and let me grab some cobble. I'm going to block off there, 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 and there for a minute. And I'm wondering if I can put this into the floor there and if it'll power on swamp water. I don't see why it wouldn't, but it's possible that it wouldn't. No. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. So I've got to figure out something else for these. I was really wanting them down here, but I want swamp water here. But it's like I don't want to completely hide them away so that they're not visible anywhere. And, man, extra utilities, why you gotta make me hate you? Why you gotta make me hate you right now? Thing is, these water mills are just so ugly. With like most setups, especially since I don't really have any pure water here, I'm really, really tempted just to hide them somewhere. But I guess if you're doing a farm like that style, maybe, and you don't have between lands or you're not using swamp water, there you go. There's an easy way to put your water mills in, I suppose. For me, I really don't know. Okay, I think what we're going to do, just because I want them visible, just so I hate hiding things completely away that are like core things, you know what I mean? Like I just don't want to just stick them underground and say there they are. We're never going to look at them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to kind of dig out. These aren't going to be running at full efficiency, I'll go ahead and tell you. Because I think I want them visible from the side for us. So I'm going to have the water wheel set up right here. And we're going to do like maybe 4 high here. That should be fine for us. And so what I'm going to have to do, and then basically I'll do like glass right there. So we've got these things spinning. I don't know. I might end up moving them if they don't end up matching this hallway once it's done. But I think I'll be able to make them kind of fitting in. So what we're going to do, let's just, let's actually just place that back. We'll dig that up. And let's go ahead and just dig all of that up. And then let me actually just dig this out for just a minute so we have like an infinite water source right here. Because it'll make life a little bit easier for us. And we're going to put water right there. So it's now generating 8 power. And then we're going to have water right back there. So now it's generating 12. You could get 16 out of it if you put another source or put this water source on the corner so it's hitting both sides. But this will be fine for us for the time being. Okay, so that's running now. So our thingamajig, our resonator should be... It should be making more of that stone burnt for us. Okay. I get caught on like all the platforms. Yeah, there we go. So that's generating more stone burnt. And I'd like to get, go ahead and get water in both of these real quick. I'd like to go ahead and get a couple more water meals. Let's pop down. I want to get to where we can start making elevators. Now I know there's the like lazy man elevators that go shoop and shoot you up. Is that from extra utilities or whatever? But I hate those things with a passion. So, okay, so now we're generating 24. No power used. Oh, man. Okay. So they're not going to generate on top of each other. I can't remember. I haven't stacked them like this in so long. So I guess what I'm going to have to do is put them... This is really not ideal. I hate these things so much. And I noticed I'm not getting diminished returns on them, it seems like. Maybe I just haven't reached the threshold. I think it's like 100 or something before you start getting diminished returns. But I'm going to have to just block off all of that, I guess. So we'll have like glass set up. But for right now, I'm generating 24. That should be enough to run another resonator. So what we're going to do, let's pop up. I'm just going to dump all this coal in here for right now, because this is backed up already on coal. Like, it's generating a ton of this stuff. Let's go ahead and take our other resonator. And this should be... Yeah, I'm going to need a little bit more stone burnt. Like 2 more pieces. What we're going to do, let's put a hopper still setting there. And then we're going to have item conduits now come out the top of this. And this is all still going to be hidden at this point. And then it'll move into item ducts after the resonator. So resonator is going to come up to like right there. And that way in this room we can kind of, once I spruce it up, I think it's going to look cool. But we'll still be able to see all of our stuff, kind of the way it's automated and the way it's running in this room. So that's going to start running the resonator, which is then going to turn this coal into red coal. And the way red coal works, it gets an efficiency boost based on the total GP that you're producing. Now, if you're using all of your GP, let's say you're producing 400 GP, but you're using every single drop of that, that's fine. It doesn't change anything. It looks at your total GP production and it updates in real time. So if I add more GP production, like you can see right now, it boosts fuel efficiency with additional GP up to 700%. Current efficiency boost is 30%. So basically it's running at 130% efficiency to regular coal. And that is going to transfer to the endo flames. Now I will say there's a limit. I believe it's like blaze blocks. It's like the limit, right about the limit of endo flames as far as production goes. But basically it's going to make these endo flames run a bit longer. 30% longer at the moment. Which is, that's okay. But let's add another water wheel to this and we'll take a look at the difference that adding one water wheel adds. It is going to take a while to hit 700% efficiency, and I don't believe that the endo flames will be able to benefit. Well, no, you know what? They might be able to, because I know endo flames can use a block of coal just fine. Because a block of coal's burn time is 16,000 ticks. Yeah, so it may not be quite as efficient. I mean, right now it's 2,080 ticks as its burn time. And if we take a look, that endo flame's finished off. Okay. So yeah, I guess at maximum, it's still not as strong as a block of coal, but it doesn't matter because it's one piece of coal. And I produce 12 pieces of coal at a time, and I produce like stacks and stacks of coal every time that this harvests. So that is okay. I may have to move these water wheels over really quick by like one block, because I realized I think I want them set up a little bit differently than what we've got them. I think I'll be able to pack them in like this, truth be told, because it's just too tight to have water flow and hit 3 sides on all of them. Yeah, so what I'm going to have to do, let me rearrange a little bit. So there we go. I mean, that's about what we're going to have to do. So we're producing 36 grid power now. And if we go and take a look and see what the production's up to, I'm going to toss that in the resonator, get that running. But if we take a look now, these are 2,320 tick burn time. And it's 45% boosted efficiency. So, yeah, we're getting there. It's going to take a lot of GP, but regardless, it's better, and it'll progressively get better and better as we add more GP production. And like I said, you don't have to remake all this stuff once you boost it. You know, it's going to keep updating in real time. So, let me go ahead and get one more set up, which will be our last one for right now. Oh, cool. I have pumpkin spiders spawning in my base. Divine RPG, I hate you. We're going to have to get an obelisk from Ender.io to keep these mobs from spawning. Seems like they could spawn on just grass. So any place that I have regular grass, I have had them spawn one time in my potion room also. Only one time, so it's not super common. But that is something to be aware of. Luckily, most of my base is going to be swamp grass, which they can't seem to spawn on. I'm not doing it as swamp grass because they can spawn on regular grass. I'm just doing it because that's what we're doing. Okay, so there we go. Now we're producing 48 GP. And like I said, normally there's a diminished return point on individual generators. I think it might be able to be disabled. But I think it doesn't start, though, until about 100 GP. So it may just not have kicked on yet. But you can see now our current efficiency boost, 60%. Burn time, 2560. Need a lot more GP production, but that's a good starting point for us. And this is more accurate to what we're going to be running on this long term. Okay, so at this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just plug up our servo. And let this go ahead and start running. Oh wow, this is starting to back up on coalescence. This is actually extremely, because it takes no power and just a very minuscule amount of mana. And we're able to farm this massive area. It's going to be great. And basically we'll just speed up the timer. Like I said, we'll speed up the timer later on because it breaks a certain number of crops every time it activates. So as we have more and more crops, you know, being fully grown at a given time, then we'll need to speed that up a little bit. but that's fine. So what we're going to do now is I want these to be accessible, right? I always want coal and I want red coal to be accessible because red coal is going to be our forever kind of power source. Like if I need stuff with burn time, it'll be red coal that we use. Whereas regular coal, maybe we use it for crafts or whatever. So there's that. Let me go ahead and just lock it in real quick. There we go. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and just toss that in there for right now. Let that run and generate some mana for us. And at this point, I think I'm going to... Oh, what's it take to make efficiency lenses? Seems like most of them take runes, which is like default recipe, but I don't know if I want to bump up to more than 6 Endoflames per spreader for right now until I get like efficiency or Elven Mana Spreaders or something like that. I think what I'm going to do, let me actually pull that out for right now. And I could make some speed upgrades for this. What's it take to make speed upgrades? Because I've got a bit of GP built up. Speed upgrades are default. Block of redstone, gold, and then gold. Okay, yeah, I'll get some of those going, actually. I think it will start with 2. Go ahead and pull this out for a minute. Okay, so there's 1 speed upgrade. That bumps it up to 16 GP consumption. There's 2 speed upgrades. If you want to see the speed difference, it's 24 GP, but it's a whole lot faster to run this stuff. Now I'm not going to run it through there. I'm going to run it through this one. It's going to take 48 with the thing that's running over there. So we'll just do the 32 for now. Speed it up a little bit until this finishes. And I can actually run that in there also. So that'll work. Yeah. And then once this resonator stops, I'll switch it over. Which actually, can I do? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to shut off that other resonator for right now. I've got plenty of stone burnt to make more water meals. So I'll wait to finish running that until I have more water meals. Okay, so this has stopped running. So what I want to do, I want to go ahead and move our mana spreader to our more permanent location. Which means I'm going to have to kind of readjust all this stuff and change it. But now our item ducts are going to be coming out up here and going to where they need to go. So all this stuff can kind of shift and move at this point. So what I'm thinking is we're going to have our mana spreaders, like one's going to be right here, and then I'm going to have one here, one here, one here. Eventually 4 mana spreaders. And long term there'll be 4 Gaia spreaders all feeding into this mana pool, which I think is more than enough Endoflame based mana production for our needs. So that's going to feed in there. Okay, I've changed my mind a little bit. Our mana system is going to be right over here. Let me open this up just a little bit more. It's going to be kind of a high ceiling in this area because we're going to have those automation kind of pillars that kind of come up in areas, which I think they'll look pretty good once they're done. But we're going to put our pressure plate down right here. And this is all going to be above the ceiling. And then we'll have our open crate setting here. Our hopper. Or do I want to bring it down by 1? I could. In fact. Let me put that there, and we'll have the open crate sitting right above the pressure plate, in fact. And then we'll have the hopper feed in, say, from this side. And then we'll have the redstone come out from there. And then we'll have to run up some redstone from down below. And I had made this comparator, and then I decided I wasn't going to use it. Now I'm deciding that I'm going to use it. So what we'll do, let's put, it's going to go on the wall here. I don't know what the floor is going to be for sure, so I'm just going to put cobble for right now. And we're going to have this comparator feed down like that. I really want red string comparators, truth be told. But potentiometer, can it go on the walls? Yes, it can. So we'll want it on this side. In fact, that would be okay though, because I have an idea of what I can put over the floor around these. They actually look pretty good, I think. So let's do that. So let's set it to 14. So it's going to subtract 14 from this, and then our redstone signal could come out. So for example, if I put, say, a chest right here instead of a mana pool, and we threw some things in there, you can see right now it's not sending anything out. There is a redstone signal coming out, but if I adjusted this to say 0, now it's emitting a signal. And that's what we want to see. Okay. So we'll put this back. Our redstone signal comes out of here, and what we're going to do, we're going to have it, just wondering how far out I'd need to bring it to do a redstone torch line. I think it's 2. This would be the point of the last automation tower that comes up on this side. So if I brought it out, let me get a repeater real quick. Though I think the signal coming out of here would be like a 14. Just going to put a repeater here. And we'll just bring it over like to here, I think. Then what we'll do is we'll just do a torch tower right here, I think. Which I'm making a big old mess out of my stone, but that's fine. Oh, let's see, we're right there. Okay, well let's do cobblestone torch, cobblestone torch. This is just vanilla. And what I need at the moment is I need one that's off. So we're going to have to do that. One a little bit higher. And then we're going to have redstone pull out of that. 1, 2, 3. And I'll just bring that over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that way if the comparator goes off, it's going to switch all these redstone torches and then send a signal over to here. And then this is going to, okay, we'll bring it up like that. And then if we do that, it stops the hopper. Okay, that's what I want to see. So then, now that that's done, all of our redstone is plugged back up. A little bit different, but this way we can hide it away. And I can just put, you know, this stuff through there. That should all work. And then I'm going to put a cover on top of this. And, well, honestly, once we get a red string comparator, we can get rid of that. I'd rather have a red string comparator, but I don't know. I'm thinking about it like a floor block over this. Assuming that we can put like a wool, well, not really a wool, but, well, little tiles. We got little tiles, so why am I even stressing about that? Okay, and then we're going to have this room kind of like stalagmites kind of hanging down. Is kind of my plan up here. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I need to bring up conduits to this hopper. Okay, do we actually need this visible though? because it's literally going to be running right up into the ceiling, like, immediately. So maybe not. Maybe not in this case. Let's go ahead and set it to extract always active. I'm going to have to make some more item conduits. That's fine, though. Let me just... Yeah, let me go make some more item conduits real quick. I've got enough pulsating iron for another craft. Just run that over. And we'll say that you can't insert. There we go. Endoflame should start getting it. Oops. There we go. Beautiful. So it's going to start dumping mana into this mana pool. And I'm going to keep that removed for right now just so I can see down in there. And it looks like all of them are running at the moment. Oh wow, it's actually starting to back up the mana's better. 6 is too many. That's fine. We're going to upgrade. I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be producing just ridiculous amounts of the stuff. So, and just ate another one. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to take a mana spreader. This build's starting to get expensive. And let's go ahead and just bind that over to there. So it's going to pump mana over to this, which then feeds down into there. This mana pool is also going to feed another system that we're going to be setting up this episode. So that's automated again. Now eventually we're going to have 3 more spreaders and 18 more endoflames. Probably more long term once I get lenses on this and once I upgrade to Elven and inevitably Gaia spreaders. We're going to need a lot more endoflames to keep those running at full capacity. Actually, now that I think about it, it's taking longer. I mean, it's starting to back up because it's not sending as fast because it's got to send it further down. What does it take to make, like, velocity lens? I think we looked at that. I think it's like Rune of Air. Yeah. Okay, but that's back up and running. Now what I need to do is I'm going to have to cut for a little bit. I'm going to have to dig out our space that's going to house our actual power gen because I don't want the power gen in this room. This room is basically just farm automation 1 room, more or less. And our starting little endoflame setup, because we're going to have mana setups all around the base, not just all in one place. But most of our power generation is going to happen in one place. So, this pack does have mana tesseracts, but we're not going to be going with mana tesseracts, at least at the moment. Because they require redstone, and terra steel, and rune teleportation, which isn't... Okay, that's a little bit bad, and we need dream rock too, so... Yeah, but anyways, give me just a little bit. I'm going to figure out and dig out where our power system is going to go. At least our first power system, and then I'll bring you guys back once we get ready to set that up. And I'm going to get a few things prepped. I've got to get capacitor banks, and I've also got to get a very key item crafted up, which is the power monitor. Graphical, we don't have to have, just the standard power monitor would work, but we do need industrial machine chassis for that, which is fine. I think we've still got some of that dye blend lying around somewhere. This is easy enough. That's easy enough. And then Grains of Infinity. And then we need basic energy conduits. So just that conductive iron. So yeah, I'll be back here in just... It's going to be a little bit. I'm going to have to cut because I've got to get some space dug out. And yeah, I've actually got quite a bit to do. But I'll be back here in just a bit. Okay, and actually one thing I want to do really quick. Let's go ahead and get a couple pieces of mana steel. And I think it's time that we make a mana splitter, because we're actually going to start pumping out some power, especially once I get the rest of those endoflames set up and some various things here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put a mana splitter here. And we're going to put a mana pool and another mana pool. That way it splits this mana off, and then we're just going to direct our burst into that mana splitter, because I want it splitting off into 3 pools here. Now technically I could shoot it up and then down, split it off into 4 pools. But no, I think I just want it here, at least for now. Maybe until we get more spreaders, then we might adjust some things. But I want basically 3 pools available here, which we're only going to be using really this pool and that pool for right now. This pool will get more uses. This pool will get a use, but we're going to be sending this off to make power, I think, which eventually these two will back up. So all the mana will pretty much be going in here to make power. So, but yeah, so I'll be back here in just a bit. Okay, it's been a minute. You can see we've got a decent amount of power generated into this, or mana generated into this. It's about to be power. And I went ahead and dug this out. Now, I know right now it just looks like a whole lot of stone and like pathways, and it looks horrible. But we're steadily getting the base built. So it's going to be easier once we get like jetpacks or something. Or Flugel Tiara or Angel Ring or something. But what I've got in mind is, like, of course, that big natural caverny stone bridge is going to be up here. It kind of comes across, and then this is going to be kind of the bulk of our power system. It's going to be a very large capacitor bank. Now, eventually we will make some little mana subsystems where maybe like a small amount of power is dumped into like a substation that runs certain machines or something like that. Instead of necessarily moving all of our power via conduits, some of our power we may move via mana, right? Because technically, as our setup comes together, it's easier for us to move mana than it is for us to move power. So, we're going to have some fun with that. But anyways, it's going to pay off in the long run, the way that we're running our power. Just starting out, it's a little bit, it's been a little bit difficult. So we're going to have this big main bay power system with mana coming in from all different directions from our different mana batteries. Instead of having all of our mana batteries directly next to our power system, we're going to move the mana to the power system and turn it into power there. So eventually there's going to be a lot of movement and activity in our base. It's kind of my plan. So, and then this will be kind of raised over the majority of our base. And I have some ideas for that, how it's going to be pretty cool. So what we're going to do, I've made up a lot of stuff here. First up, I did make 3. These are just the tier 2 capacitor banks. The tier 3s, they're just too expensive for me right now. Until I set up auto spawning and do Enderman or something through that, they're just too expensive. By the way, the floor through a lot of this is going to be this high. So you're actually going to step up steps to get up to the floor coming into here. And so that's why I'm setting these up right here. And then this little section here, a lot of this floor is going to be lowered. This is going to be opened up a bit more. Probably have a glass wall. I'm not going to do the glass wall just yet, and that's because I cannot afford spectral rails. They're a little bit expensive because I need Dreamwood for that. But anyways, right now we can store 15 million RF, or that symbol. And we can input and output 15,000 per tick from our little capacitor bank system. And so what we're going to do, the first thing that we need to do is I need to pop over to here real quick. Oh, and I did craft up one thing that I have not made yet. Haha, mana flux field. It actually wasn't too bad. The gold casings craft 3 at a time, so it's just one craft, and all the rest of the stuff is super cheap. So let's go ahead and grab that. And it's great because normally we go with like a variety of power generators on series. This series we're going with one, but it's going to be way harder. So anyways, there is a mana pool, and what we're going to do is we're going to combine that with a minecart. We're going to get a minecart with mana pool. Now, right now, I don't have red string comparators, so I'm going to set this up slightly inefficiently. And the reason being is because otherwise it's just going to be a huge eyesore if I did it otherwise. I mean, I guess I could, but it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible looking. But anyways, what we're going to do is we are going to set up a powered rail system, and I'm going to have, we're going to put a block there, and that's going to stop our, oh wait, no, it needs to be moved over by 1, doesn't it? Powered rail there. And then we're going to do just, we'll probably spruce this up a little bit once I build this room out, but just for example's sake and to get us started generating some power, let's go ahead, 4, 5, 6, that should be plenty. And then we'll just kind of come up a little staircase. Probably what I'm going to do is have it just immediately raise up and be probably on platforms, but I've got to figure out how I want to build all this out before I do that, because I don't have the slightest clue at the moment. It's the thing, we're just kind of building as we go. So, let's actually do it like that. This is going to come up. We're going to go ahead and set up a few more powered rails here. And then let me get just a couple levers for now, just to get these activated. That. And like our other rail systems, this one will evolve, I promise. We'll run it out to say... We actually have it turn. Once everything's set up and we have plenty of spreaders and we have plenty of materials, because I just can't afford our nice setups. I can't afford red string and things like that at the moment. So everything's just kind of semi-temporary setups that we're doing. But what we're going to do is we're going to run it out to, say, right here. We're going to put another powered rail there that's not powered and a block to stop it. And what we're going to do... Let's get ourselves, we're going to need 2 mana pumps, right? Yeah, these right here. I've actually done a system kind of similar to this, but we're gonna take it to an extreme this go around. I think it was maybe, but it was a very small setup. It's where we did that big mana setup where we had the Botania tree farm that fueled Munch Dews and Endoflames and Gormialis and all that different stuff off of one thing. And we'll be doing some mana tree farms in this series as well. But there's our mana pumps. Honestly, Botania is going to be like the core of a lot of our base. So just a heads up there. And what we're going to do, let's set up, I want a hovering hourglass here. And this is where it's kind of inefficient, because technically we could use a comparator to move the mana pool, or to basically control the cart and control the pump. But if I do that right now, it's going to be a little bit ugly, because I'd have to run the redstone over. I could do it via conduit and then put like a potentiometer there, but still I'm going to have conduits and redstone and all that stuff until I get red string comparators. I'm not going to do that right this second, because it's going to be horrendous. But if you read the mana pumps with a comparator, you can see how full the cart is when it's attached to a mana pump. So just a heads up. And what we're going to do, let's I don't need to move it up this far, actually, because I'm going to have a, let's see, how do I want this to go? Maybe powered rail setting there. It could set a bit further back, and it will long term, because long term what we're going to have is this mana system, once it's running at full throttle, is going to have probably 2 carts moving mana at once, maybe 3 carts, depending on how many Endoflames I actually end up setting up. I don't know for sure yet. And then it's actually going to run down, our cart systems are going to run down along through here and feed mana pools. So it's going to be pretty nifty, I think, once it's all set up. But right now we only have the 1, so this is just kind of semi-temporary, just so we can get power up and running. So let's do that instead. Let's do that. Let's get, I need to get a mana pool real quick. And technically this one's close enough we could just move it via spreader, like a spreader chain, but I'd rather do it like this. It's going to be a little bit more fun. So we're going to set up our mana pool there, and we're going to put a mana pump right there. And we want this arrow pointing towards the mana pump, because we're going to be pulling mana from the cart here into the mana pool. And these things actually pull mana extremely fast. And that's where it gets a little bit inefficient, because ideally I would read this with a comparator and say, okay, when it's about 14, more so over here, when it's about 14 on the mana pool, I mean on the mana cart, then stop sending mana. You know, don't overfill it, because it feeds fast enough that it will overfill if you're not careful. But like I said, I don't really have the resources at the moment. So we're going to pull mana from this into the mana cart. So if we set our minecart with mana pool, you can see it's going to start pulling all the mana out of there into here. And then what we're going to do is just put some sand in here. And I'm going to be running it at 32 seconds. That's plenty. It's not like we're generating enough mana where it needs to be like zoom, 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 moving super fast. But probably long term we'll have the carts make a couple stops on their way to the power system. Is kind of what I'm thinking. So I think this room will end up having a few Endoflame setups long term, but that should be good for now. And so once that activates, it's just about to activate, and the hovering hourglass is going to flip. Oh no. Oh, that's right. I made these repeaters for a reason. Derp. Because the redstone signal coming out of this hovering hourglass is just not long enough without a repeater. So let's go ahead, do that, drop that in, and then over here, so many temporary setups on this series, but that's actually kind of a good thing because that means that we're like having to make progress and stuff. Honestly, I think 32 seconds is probably too long, but it doesn't really matter. Once it starts running, it's going to be running. And these are going to be kind of lopsided, so this one's going to stop here, and then it's only going to be here for like 10 seconds. It's going to go back. But that's plenty of time. Like you can see that it drains it out and fills that up into there. So now we have a bit of mana over here. Now, once we have the comparator system that reads it, it'll say, okay, you're empty. Go ahead and go back. I don't need you anymore. And then over there, it'll say, okay, you're almost full. Stop sending mana. Go ahead and send it off, right? That's what I'd like to do. But, can't do that at the moment. And, oh, and redstone signal applied to this will stop it from sending any mana. So you can see that time it didn't really bring much at all. That's why I don't have the time set to lower at the moment. Okay, so we've got that in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set up a mana spreader setting here. And this is also kind of temporary. We'll make it a bit nicer here soon enough. But what we're going to do is we are going to attach a power monitor. And we're actually just going to butt it up against, well, we'll put it right here, I think. And then we'll attach an energy conduit line. And that way it reads this system. So you can see we have 640 RF in the conduit lines, which is really just this one. We have 0 out of 15 million in storage. Our average output over 5 seconds is nothing. Our average input over 5 seconds is nothing. And machine buffers, we have 1,000 from... Oh, probably... well, does the power monitor actually accept power? I don't think it does. I don't know. But we can also click here and set redstone. And what I want to do is I want to emit signal when storage is less than. And these power monitors, we're going to be setting these up, which these will get moved slightly, and flux fields will get moved slightly once we have the resources and once everything kind of starts taking shape into its permanent setup, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to set on here, we're going to say emit signal when the storage is less than, and we're going to say 90% full. And we're going to stop when the storage is greater than or equal to 96% full. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a tiered system as time goes on. So whenever storage is less than 90% full, then it's going to activate the Endoflame based power system, which is going to be kind of our weakest power system, right? So less than 90% full, go ahead and kick that on, which I may, as we get more storage, I may increase that buffer to say like 95% and then stop emitting when it's like 98%, you know? But then once we get, say we have a Gormialis set up, we may activate Gormialis at say 80% and it'll stop working at say 90%. So that way it'll kick on different power systems as the power drops instead of it just being all on at once, you know. It'll just kind of kick them on as it needs to as that power production decreases. Now the actual power systems won't be like, you know, if I have a Gormialis set up, the power monitor won't be at the Gormialis. It'll just be the mana pools that are linked to our Gormialis systems. and linked to our endoflame systems, if that makes sense. It'll make more sense as time goes on. But I want this to be a pretty intelligent power system once everything's all said and done. So it's going to emit a signal when the storage is less than 90% full. It's going to stop when storage is greater than or equal to 96% full. Actually, I want to... Now I think about it, I want to reverse that, though. I don't want to emit a signal when it's less than that. Yeah, probably once we get some nicer redstone stuff, we can do something a little bit different. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're just going to run it out to here then instead. And we'll say 90 and 96, good. And it should be emitting a signal right now, which it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a redstone torch here. And that's not going to feed in though like that. Now let me move this. This is terrible. I don't have many capacitor banks, and I don't have much at all at the moment. Let's put it here instead. And that should still keep it. Yeah, and then we'll pump our redstone in like that. We'll move our... Okay, and I'll tell you what. Let's put our spreader here. I just don't have much space at the moment. Yeah, we'll do our redstone here. And we'll just run it out like that. And then, if I was to remove that again... Yeah, there we go. It's not firing. Because if this gets a redstone signal, it won't run. So this is all temporary. We'll get some nicer redstone system up and going here soon. Okay, so now that that's in place, what we're going to do is we're going to attach our mana flux field here. And we are going to say that you can input from the mana flux field. And this should work. There we go. We're now generating a little bit of power. Not a ton, but a little bit. But this is running off of mana. Now, right now, we don't have enough power to really run anything consistently. But we need more spreaders. Technically, I could set up another one. Though the big issue is shutting it off with redstone at the moment. Unless I switch all this over to conduits, which I could. And that one might be getting in the way, actually. But if I did that, now we're generating 300 and some odd RF per tick. So, we'll scale this up, but we need better spreaders and lenses and all that fun stuff. And each of these flux fields can only move, I mean, you could see 12,800 FE, which is RF. It's all like interchangeable. So that's about the most it's going to be able to do at once. It's going to be able to move up to 12,800 RF per tick per flux field. Now we're going to need a lot of spreaders to actually move that much. But once we get into like Elven and eventually Gaia spreaders with velocity, potency lenses, and all that stuff, it's going to be a lot better. And the potency lenses are just lenses of fire runes. So really, once we get a runic altar, we could pull that off. Not too difficult. I think all this stuff is pretty craftable for us. But I'd like to start getting some automation before we push too heavily into that. And that's draining out a decent amount of our mana. So I'll definitely want to get more endo flames up and going. And in turn, more mana generation up and going. It's gonna be a lot of work. To say the least. But we're gonna get it. And it's gonna be something fun and different for us than just more of the same power system. So technically we have power generation going. It's not pretty right now. And it's not super effective just yet. But that's why we're going to have a big buffer system, because we're going to try to keep from most of the stuff in our base running 24/7 in this pack. We want to kind of toggle things on and off as needed so as not to waste a ton of power. That's like our spawner system. We're going to have it be smart. If it doesn't need to be spawning something, if it's just voiding the drops, like the important drops from something, then it's going to stop spawning that, switch over to something else automatically instead of just sitting there and just, okay, I'm going to keep spawning Endermen even though I'm voiding all the Ender Pearls, you know. There's no point in that. So, yeah, I think that will work for now. I just need more of everything. So, and right now there's not really a lot of point to put more spreaders on this because it's going to run out of mana before anything, because I need more mana generation going through here. Now here soon it's going to be focusing pretty much all of its mana into this mana pool, which is going to help, but I need to get some more Endo Flames crafted up for this side, and then another spreader and another spreader in place. So, oh gosh, it's so expensive though, because spreaders are so expensive. It's what we signed up for, I suppose. But yeah, we're getting close to having generated 1,000,000 power, so it's a start. So I feel like we need to start pushing into Botania harder to get up to runes. Even though I think next episode we're going to start working on some of our ore processing area and setting up automation for certain alloys, because that's going to help me out, just getting like dark steel, redstone alloys, stuff like that automated, so I don't have to keep manually dumping it into alloy smelters. That would help out a ton. So I think that's what we're going to be working on next. I'm going to start digging out the kind of the smith area, our big smith. And I will say, since we're trying to go with a lot of stuff not being ran off of power, if we can avoid it, like going with basically other systems other than just everything just goes into a machine and there we go. We are going to be making a lot of our alloys through Tinker's Construct, and a lot of our ore processing system is going to be through Tinker's Construct instead of just dumping it into a pulverizer redstone furnace combo and calling it a day. We're going to be, which means we're probably not going to worry too much about like 3 times output unless it's something rare. There's just not much point in it. And truth be told, long term, most of our ores are going to be through magical crops and stuff anyways, and not so much probably through mining related stuff, even though I do plan on running an orchid in this series. So we're going to be setting up smelteries. I'm going to be moving my smeltery and starting to set up a bunch of, or not a bunch, but quite a few smelteries. We're going to have different ones dedicated for different things. And I was kind of bummed out because I noticed that the normally there's like the Hellfire smeltery stuff or whatever, the darker color, like the reddish color. It's not on here. I don't know if that's like, I don't know what mod that's from. I thought it was just from Tinker's Constructs, but maybe not. But I can make the sieve bricks work just fine for what we're going to be doing. So it's not too bad. It's like a quarter of a mana pool to generate probably about 2 million per quarter mana pool, which right now we just don't have a whole lot of mana production. I mean, we're literally running this off of 6 Endo Flames, but it's going to get a whole lot easier, I promise. It's just, with this system, we're going to have to scale it a lot. A lot of scaling. For the record, but the nice thing is once we go for our Terra Shatter, it shouldn't be too hard for us to get up to max tier Terra Shatter with how much infrastructure with mana we have to do for our base. So there is that. But yeah, so I'm going to end out this episode here. We have power. It's just not a lot of power right now. But it's a step in the right direction. So next episode, we're going to start playing with alloys and ore doubling. And that way it's just going to make my life a whole lot easier. And I'm going to probably get some machines moved over and maybe work on, I'm going to be working on a lot of the rooms that we've been working in the last 2 episodes, which of course is that little farm output room, and then this power room, and then probably a little bit down in the farming area room also. And then I'll start digging out for where the smeltery is going to be, where the smith is going to be located, for our ore doubling and alloy creation. So I'll start working on that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out. We have a long journey ahead of us, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm honestly having a lot of fun here because I'm having to think about things when normally modded Minecraft is just face roll, like, okay, just automate these things, plug up these machines. It's so simple, which this system is going to be a challenge. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun indeed. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.